Hello YouTube, it's me, it's Michael B. Thank you so much for checking out the video. And today I've got so much news to share with you from the home arcade and retro gaming space. First off, it looks like the YouTube pundits who predicted Arcade1Up would be in trouble in 2024 may have been a little preemptive, as a new financial report has broke that shows that Arcade1Up actually had a pretty successful Q4 in 2023 and may be poised to do some cool things in the new year. On top of that, new Wave Toys blew everybody's mind today after they dropped a teaser for their next big project, something that had been rumored for a long time but thought inconceivable, and that's 1/6 scale pinball. On top of that, there's even more. We've also got updates from CES. MyArcade finally did their big unveil, and is it a little disappointing? Plus, Hyperkin, remember Hyperkin? They announced a long-rumored and previously announced project has finally come to fruition with a Sega Genesis handheld. And I'm going to tell you more about all of this right after this. That's right guys, we got a ton of news to cover in today's video, so I don't want to belabor this, including Arcade1Up's better financial position heading into 2024 than everybody anticipated, new Wave Toys dropping an absolute bombshell today, and of course all the news from CES with MyArcade and Hyperkin releasing new home arcade and retro products that you may be interested in. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much everybody for checking out the video. Guys, I always appreciate the support. If this is your first time to the channel, you like what you see, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that YouTube jazz. Well guys, it's hard to say that Arcade1Up was looking good heading into 2024. We heard the news, of course, that they were going to be skipping CES with no new announcements. Plus, they were making these awful commercial videos for their holiday sales. A lot of people on YouTube have been counting them out, but a new report has emerged that actually places them in a better position. So I want to say a huge thank you to Kevin Clausen. He passed this along to me earlier this afternoon, and I was so excited and happy to share this news because it's been all doom and gloom about Arcade1Up for the last little while. People really fixating on the fact they skipped CES last year. There was a lot of re-releases, not a lot of new titles, and a lot of people in tribalistic fashion were counting them out. But according to Yahoo Finance, this piece of news that was announced today, Alliance Entertainment Kokum Gaming Division exceeds sales forecast for Arcade1Up products in 2023 calendar fourth quarter. This means in the fourth quarter, they basically went above and beyond their sales numbers. Alliance Entertainment Holding Corporation, a distributor and wholesaler of the world's largest in-stock selection of music, movies, video games, electronics, arcades, toys, and collectibles, today announced its Kokum Gaming Division reported sales of the popular Arcade1Up home arcade machines that exceeded initial forecasts in the calendar fourth quarter. Sales for Arcade1Up products performed well and exceeded expectations during the holiday season, said King Glaser, Alliance Entertainment's SVP of Sales. Throughout 2023, the team worked hard to right-size our arcade inventory levels, which began 2023 at 54.3 million. 2023 ending arcade inventories stood at 17.4 million. There was also more than 20 million in new arcade inventory purchased in 2023 to support the holiday sales, and our strategy and focus this year is on profitable sales growth with our growing arcade customer base. Success during the holiday season can be attributed to aggressive sales and advertising campaigns, working hand-in-hand with Arcade1Up to drive consumers to our retail partners, and our alignment with key e-commerce retailers including Amazon, Best Buy, Kohl's, Target, Walmart, Wayfair, QVC, HSN, Dell, and more. This year's hot holiday items in the arcade category include the Infinity Game Table, the award-winning digital tabletop gaming experience by Arcade1Up. Infinity Game Table and its recently released companion Infinity Game Board brings digital versions. Also, the introduction of the Rizel's Deluxe arcade cabinets, which include bestsellers Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga. Sorry, I just stopped reading about the Infinity Game Table because that's a little hard to take. These core titles are expected to show sales growth of more than 60% in 2024 with a more focused approach and consistent marketing skew. There's a bunch more about Tastemakers and Arcade1Up, about Kokum International, but I think you get the gist of the picture. Well, first off, I want to comment on them giving their marketing initiatives a lot of success. I don't know about that. I mean, there was a lot of fails, like these videos with Cyrus that looked like absolute shit. Of course, the pop-ups on screen during the cabinets that not everybody loved. There were a couple other misfires as well, but it's good to see Arcade1Up came out from that in spite of those things and did well. It's also impossible not to mention the fact that most of their products, which were available during the holiday season, were, of course, at much better and more manageable prices. One of the things we've been saying for a very long time is Arcade1Up, your products are cool. They're just priced a little too high. So you get cabinets like Time Crisis that was way too high. That came down to about $500. And of course, Fast and the Furious came down to $399. Street Fighter 2 Deluxe at $299. These were just flying off the shelf. So it's no wonder they had a major increase in sales in the fourth quarter. But the important thing to take away from this is good news for everybody saying that Arcade1Up is going out of business. I think we can take it a step back. There are reluctance to go to CES this year. It may suck. We all want new titles, and we wanted to see some new products from Arcade1Up, some hope, but we didn't get it. But this is hope. They had a good fourth quarter. They're in a better financial position than we expected. And maybe this leans towards Arcade1Up doing cooler things in the new year. There's some other things to take away from that might not be the coolest thing for the community, of course. As I said many times on videos I did, Arcade1Up's doing a bunch of stuff that might not be what the community wants it to do, but that doesn't mean it isn't profitable. And of course, they were profitable in quarter four, so it may mean we get another year coming up in 2024, much like last year, where we get a lot of re-releases. We don't see a lot of spending in research and development bringing new titles in, and Arcade1Up continues just to make money. Time will tell, but I'm going to take this as a big positive. Hopefully it means cool shit coming in 2024. Arcade1Up, successful quarter four, exceeded sales expectations, and hopefully moving in the right direction again. So right before that, I get a message from my buddy Adam Kalb, who wanted to turn my attention to a post in the New Wave Toys Facebook page. And you can see it right here. New Wave Toys released a silhouette. And we all know what the silhouettes mean. New product incoming. And if you take a look at this, it's pretty clear what it is. Holy shit, New Wave Toys is releasing a 1/6 scale pinball machine. I mean, we heard the rumors, but they weren't really going to do it. These maniacs aren't going to do this, right? So I was lucky enough to meet with the team from New Wave Toys back at the Cleveland Gaming Classic. I got to meet Eduardo, here you see on screen here. We went through a list of all their products that they had out on display, and of course I also got to talk to Shiloh. And through talking to them, we did talk about the rumor of New Wave Toys possibly doing a 1/6 scale pinball machine, and Shiloh was very high on the idea. He really wanted to do it, but I mean, there's so much complexity to a pinball machine and a digital pinball machine. Is it going to be a digital pinball machine, or is it actually going to be an actual mechanical pinball machine? And while I assume the easiest thing to do would be to do a digital pinball machine in a 1/6 scale, maybe that's what they were going to do, Shiloh seemed to be pushing an actual mechanical pinball machine in the 1/6 scale. But of course, there's so many complications there with the physics. How do you get the miniature balls to react the same way the actual balls work? So I am just flabbergasted that they move forward with this project. Now, guys, we don't have a lot to go on right now other than a silhouette, but I took a look at the silhouette, and let me make this bigger for you here now, guys. So take a look at this here on screen, and as you can see, to me, this looks like an older pinball machine. I know a lot of people were hoping for something modern. I've seen some of the comments, people saying like, oh, please God, please be Twilight Zone, please be this. But I'm looking at this silhouette and the shape of the pinball machine, and specifically the back box. If you take a look at the back box, it's got a big frame here, which actually tells me this may be a more retro-themed pinball machine. If you might even go back all the way to the 60s and 70s, a pinball machine of that vintage. Now, New Wave Toys is all about the 80s, 90s, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this is a classic electromagnetic table all the way up to the Gottlieb era. Maybe this is something like Haunted House, Black Hole. I'm not thinking it's something more modern, but I guess time will tell. And according to my buddy P-Dubs, who did reach out to New Wave Toys and got some information, we should get an answer on what this is in the next couple of days. Even though New Wave Toys isn't physically at CES, more than likely they're going to be holding their own release during this period. And man, this is friggin' exciting. I mean, 1/6 scale pinball. I can't wait to see what it is. These maniacs are making a 1/6 scale pinball, and if it's real pinball, holy shit, that's going to be cool. But I also wonder, holy shit, how much is that going to cost? So we will find out in the next coming days. Next up, we actually get into the CES coverage, and as you know, MyArcade was at CES. They had posted a bunch of teaser photos online. We finally got the unveil today, and it's a big Atari partnership with MyArcade. We're getting an updated GameStation Pro. We're getting a line of Atari products, including a new controller. We're also getting the Atari Mega Player, which is a larger version of MyArcade's normal cabinets, and we're also getting the Atari Super Player. I don't know if they show it here in this video. I guess we'll see on the next turnaround, which is an even bigger version of their tabletop retro arcade machines. Then, of course, we've also got the Atari GameStation Portable, which is a new portable handheld which features a spinner, trackball, and control panel for playing your MyArcade Atari games on the go. So, of course, this was the big announcement from MyArcade at CES. We had seen the teasers for a couple weeks now. We know what they're doing. Of course, we've got the MyArcade Portable here, and one of the things you're going to notice about all these devices is for some reason they have a 16:9 screen, which isn't ideal for retro gaming. The 16:9 screen is going to be a recurring theme as I talk about what we saw at CES in the home arcade and retro gaming space. So we got the Atari licensed gaming devices, the Atari GameStation Portable. It's a portable handheld, officially licensed, 7-inch high-resolution display, 16:9 for 4x3 retro games. Rechargeable battery, integrated paddle, trackball, and keypad. That's pretty cool. That's going to be available Q4 2024, so not anytime soon. We got the Atari Mega Player tabletop retro arcade, so a bigger version of the traditional cheap, dinky MyArcades you would normally see in Walmart. It's got a 10.1 high resolution display, so that's a little bit bigger than Arcade1Up, I do believe. But again, 16:9, of course, 16:9 is just, it's a cheaper format screen. That's probably why they went with it. Classic wood construction. It's the wood that makes it good. That's a good thing. Mechanical joystick and action button switches. It's got an integrated paddle, trackball, and keypad, the world's tiniest trackball, which we've already talked about. And then, of course, we got the Atari Super Player, which is the even big version. Officially licensed, fully playable titles, 7-inch high-resolution display. Okay, so maybe the Mega is the bigger version. This is, it looks like taller, but it has a smaller screen, classic wood construction, mechanical joystick and action button, integrated paddle, trackball, and keypad. Yeah, available Q4. They're also coming out with some controllers, the Atari GameStation joystick. That's been updated with less colors than the one that came with the original one. And we got an Atari GameStation keypad. So, very cool things. This is actually an article by our buddy Bill Lojaduce, who you may remember for working with At Games for all those days. Armchair Arcade. Go check out Armchair Arcade and our buddy Bill. Now, if you guys want more in-person coverage of the MyArcade Atari announcements at CES 2024, go check out Gen X Gaming Grown Up. He's like the #1 MyArcade YouTuber. He is there at the event right now. He's got these great booth photos, so if you want more detailed information, I'll leave a link to his videos in the description down below. Now, the other big news coming out of Gen X Gaming Grown Up and MyArcade for CES is they're actually releasing some pole position gear as well. So they've got a pole position pocket player, which is basically like a pole position handheld, and they're also doing a pole position micro arcade. So I'll leave a link to his video on that down below as well. So this is a MyArcade driving cabinet. Pole position is one of those titles we've been begging Arcade1Up to do for a very long time. I'd be very interesting to see what they did with the marketing, because that's always been one of the things we heard feedback from John Dion, is that Pole Position would be a really hard game to do because of the marketing and all the stuff that's on the signage, Marlboro and all that stuff. So very interested to see what they did with the round. More than likely, they just put MyArcade or Atari up on the billboards, but very interesting. And go check out Gen X Gaming Grown Up for more coverage on this topic. And last but not least, we've got some Hyperkin news. Now, Hyperkin's not a product I cover very often here on the channel, just because there's not really a lot of interest from me on what they have made. They've made some cool stuff in the past years ago, like the Superboy, but other than like their version of the Duke controller they came out with a couple of years ago, it's not a lot of stuff I get jazzed up about. But they did announce something today that I thought was pretty cool. It's a handheld that plays Sega Genesis and Mega Drive cartridges. Basically, it's their version of the Nomad, and it comes on a dock. So this is called the, where is it? Mega 95. So the Mega 95 is going to be their Sega Genesis handheld. It docks, you can plug in original controllers, and it plays Genesis and Mega Drive games. I did say that this video and CES portion had a big problem with 16:9 screens, and of course, these are retro games. They will be displayed on a 16:9 screen, but I did get confirmation earlier. Retro Ralph posted it, and I was like, ooh, 16:9 screen, but he said that there is a format where you can force it to go either 4:3 or stretch it to the full 16:9, so you do have that option. And anytime that a company makes it available for you to play your original cartridge games on modern hardware, that's pretty much a good thing. Now, of course, this is just going to be emulation. When you plug your cartridge in, it's just going to rip off the game and play an emulated version. I'm almost 100% sure of it, but I guess time will tell. And the other thing Hyperkin announced, I don't have a picture of it to share, is they're doing another Xbox controller, this time the Xbox S controller, which was the upgrade to the Duke controller with a more comfortable form factor. You weren't holding this giant, ridiculous controller anymore. Much more form factoring, and honestly, the precursor to, in my opinion, one of the most comfortable gaming controllers of all time, which is the current day Xbox controller. So, pretty cool. If you're interested in Hyperkin, I'll leave a link to this article from IGN in the description below. You can go check it out. If you're a Sega Genesis fan, this might be something that interests you. Being able to take your Genesis cartridges on the go and play. Funny enough, this is something they actually announced, like I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. Good to see it finally came to fruition. Anyways, guys, I apologize. Really long and intense video today. I'm dumb. I should turn this into 3 videos. I'd get so many more views, make so much more ad revenue, but you know the way I am. I just want to get it done, share it all in one video, so hopefully I kept you entertained through all of it. Let me know what out of this news you're the most excited about, the hope for Arcade1Up after the successful fourth quarter sales heading into 2024. Hopefully this means more money to do more cool shit, new releases, more XL titles. Make it happen, Arcade1Up. Of course, I'm going to be waiting with bated breath to see what new Wave Toys is doing with 1/6 scale pinball. These crazy bastards, if this is actually a mechanical table, I'm going to be shocked. And last but not least, let me know your thoughts on both MyArcade and Hyperkin CES. Did their handhelds and new, bigger versions of their classic MyArcade desktop gaming devices, has that interested you? Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie, and I'll talk to you next time.